Godzilla Kong. Did you know that that's how it's supposed to be said?
Godzilla's Kong?
No,
Kong?
Godzilla Kong.
Godzilla
Bro,
Kong. Just
I
two
did my-
words.
They went as far as saying that that's what it's supposed to be according to the press notes. I heard some critics talking that it's supposed to be Godzilla Kong, that they were like trained, kind of like when the XS came out for the iPhone, they were like, it's not
Right.
X, it's 10.
Oh.
But the S, you got two letters next to each other, one's a letter, one's not. This is supposed to be, as you're seeing it right there, you can kind of like zoom into it. The X isn't really an X. It's floating a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I went through, as you know, it's March Madness. I went through all of the TV ads waiting for that Godzilla Kong in theaters. Now, bro, they would just cut to "da-doom" in theaters now. So it got a little fishy to me. I started researching it a bit more. Good Morning America, Godzilla Kong. The director, Godzilla Kong. So you're not supposed to say the X, although the way that they derived the two different names between this and last one is GVK and GXK. So just so you know, already there is not a consensus on how you're supposed to say it. But Godzilla Kong: The New Empire is out. And Zach, I got to ask you, because I caught up on another blockbuster. Why is this and Frozen Empire from Ghostbusters the same exact movie?
Yeah, I mean, there's the threat of a powerful ice demon of sorts. There
Both
is
called
the Empire subtitle. It's the
Both got
bringing
single
back
parents.
Yeah.
With a girl lead who's got to take them to the other dimension. They're dealing
both
with.
have pretty obnoxious product placement.
Both go to like several. Yeah, there's a lot in here that happens that are very similar. Both got these pole shifts that are happening to be able to get to different places.
Iconic franchises.
All blockbusters are the same blockbusters nowadays. But
Which one do you like better?
Ghostbusters?
Really?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by you too.
Okay.
Look, I think that the new Ghostbusters is better than the last Ghostbusters by like a smidge. Like slime. Like that much slime that was his name spit out in the movie, which was a little disgusting. That's how much. I like the last Godzilla vs. Kong more than this Godzilla vs. Kong. And I know that when talking about these movies, you kind of have to put your fan goggles on. I mean, you don't have to, but if you're going to go to these movies, they're not there to give you Sundance films.
No.
So knowing the big bombastic things that they are, I thought the last one was a little bit better. I think the fights were better. I think the color schemes were better. I think the performances were also better, because here you're just getting the hand-me-downs of the characters who have made the cut, if they're not out there filming Damsel or doing bigger projects, or maybe haven't even been killed yet. I think when it comes to the humans, Monarch, the show, is where you go for that. You're not going to get it here.
No.
But I also wanted a little bit more fighting action that you do get in this movie, but I don't think to the degree that you got it in the last one. But the Kong fans will be happy.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, you are a Godzilla guy, and Godzilla, I think, had the fair shake of the last one, so I can understand your
This is a bye
leaning
week
towards
for Godzilla.
Exactly, right? By the way, I don't know if you saw that tweet that was going around about the amount of screen time that Godzilla has had in these different Godzilla movies, and I think the most across the last 4, not counting Godzilla -1, was only 14 minutes. Which
Hey, when you big, you big. They say Anthony Hopkins only had 12 minutes, I think, when he recites of the Lambs.
I'm just saying, like, let's get Godzilla on screen a little bit more. We don't have to hide him all the time. Yeah,
It's a big budget.
I gotta say, I think I actually enjoyed this one more than the last Godzilla Kong movie. I think this one has a kind of fun, almost journey to the center of the earth adventure sci-fi quality to it. I like spending a little more time in the Hollow Earth area. I guess that's something that has only been part of Godzilla and Kong in as far as the MonsterVerse era is concerned. It's relatively a new creation, right?
I couldn't believe that either, yeah.
Right.
It just got there.
It's pretty cool to like add that into everything. Now, does the movie get bogged down in watching humans traipse through the jungle that I don't really care about? Sure. But I think there's enough there with Kong exploring Hollow Earth, and then even Hollower Earth. I love that first little fight scene with Baby Kong. And am I going to move out of the way?
Don't even move. I apologize.
Grabbing Baby Kong by the ankle is like the most fun thing that I think happened across any of these movies.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like, I did kind of like Mini Kong. He's like a fun little guy. I don't know.
I remember you had the scoop on this one about it being like Kong Jr. and the route that they take is different than it being his kid.
Right.
It was better. It was better.
Yeah.
Even having him like an adoptive child who he's being able to teach after all of the,
it's pretty
what
cool.
we've seen him go through in the movies, it was pretty awesome. Yeah. And you also get to see growth from a character like Kong.
Right.
You don't get a nepo Kong.
Exactly. Yeah. He had to earn the position. He wasn't handed to him, right?
Exactly.
I don't know. There was enough stuff like that I just ended up having a fun time with it. You mentioned that we're getting a lot of the same performances. We do have Crocodile Dundee dentist Dan Stevens helicoptering in to save the day. I really like Dan Stevens in this movie. I mean, this is kind of the Dan Stevens thing now between his performance here and his performance in Cuckoo, which people haven't had a chance to see yet. But he just like brings these wild out there characters to life.
You liked his Ace Ventura shirt?
I did. I had a really fun time with it. I had a really fun time with Godzilla using the Coliseum like a cat bed. I liked Rebecca Hall saying, well, the tell them Italian military that they would have been flattened if it wasn't for Godzilla. Like, this is what we've got. The director of what's that movie that she did with Tessa Thompson?
Passages or Passing?
Passing, yeah. This is what we got the director of Passing doing, the actress from Resurrection is doing this now. Like, hell yeah. I think this movie has an idea of how dumb it is, and it leans into that dumb fun. I can agree with you that there was maybe a lack of like Titan fighting, particularly in the first like half of this movie. But once you get to that sequence in at the pyramids, which is a badass sequence, I think this movie really moves.
Yeah, I like the dumbness that the last one had. The characters were dumber in the last one. I'll give them that. There's a big step up here in the human characters because they cut out a lot of fluff. You don't have a podcaster in his name Bernie. Is that what he goes by? Brian Tyree Henry in this movie?
I think so.
Bernie.
Yeah.
He's practically playing himself.
Yeah,
I thought he was playing like a character,
right?
But I've heard him in interviews. No, he's just goofy.
And that's the thing is like, sure, but like, I just like Brian Tyree Henry on screen.
I
like,
love Brian Tyree Henry too.
When he grabs Dan Stevens' arm.
I think it's better. Better this time than having like two kids who he was getting guided by.
Yes,
I don't think that helps anybody. It makes him look goofier that he's with teenagers. Here it's a little bit smarter because now he feels more like the outsider, right? He's that Facebooker's wet dream of being able to be there at the conspiracy moment for what he's making this podcast about.
Yeah.
But that's another one where Ghostbusters also had the conspiracy podcast. They have the conspiracy podcast. It feels like the character you need in the movie. And boy, do they find the dumbest reasons for him to go on the trip. You telling me Rebecca Hall, you just mentioned all of her accolades. Let me mention the one she has in the movie. She can spare no expense on figuring out what to do with her daughter's crazy drawings that she put up against the triangles. I'm letting the dumb stuff go, but there was a certain point where she's like, out of everybody who I can get help with, let me go call up that podcaster.
And he gets it in 10 seconds.
There's the goofiness in the movie that is easier to swallow this time around, but I still think that it's pushing its runtime a little too much. And it makes me wonder. I'll be sitting there at points, right, when Godzilla's finally changing colors, and I'm going, that's really great now that we're in this new form of Godzilla, but this is the same Godzilla from 2014? This is the same one Bryan Cranston died in.
Yeah, I mean, that's something about this movie that is a little confusing. I feel like they never really get the sense of scale quite right. Like Baby Kong looks tiny and then huge and then tiny again.
Big, I know they're all CGI, and people said this about the trailers, but damn, you really feel it. They feel weightless. They've always been fake, but there was something in that 2014 one, again, maybe like you're saying, that they know how to hide Godzilla the way they do a Darth Vader, a Jaws, where in doing that, the direction allows them to feel more menacing. Man, like maybe it's because you're sleeping. I think when he slept in the Coliseum is when you felt more of the depth of it. When it's just them and nothing's in the way to show you that scope, they feel very soft. I saw it in IMAX. Surprisingly, I'm going to give you all the recommendation for Dolby on this one. Having seen the Dolby trailer so many times, you need that rumble. It does get big when it's the monsters up there on screen, and it goes wide when it's the humans, but nah, you need that sound more than anything.
Yeah.
So
I went Dolby. I had a
will lean
great
there.
time. And look, like I agree with you. This is a very dumb movie. There's a lot of like eye roll worthy moments in it. I'm just finding that like there's been a whole slew of movies this March that I'm feeling solid 3 stars on, right? They're not great. They're not going to get nominated for any awards or anything like that, but they are a solid 3-star time out at the movies between Immaculate, Ricky Stenicki, and now this one. I'm having fun at the theater. I don't know.
This is 3.
Yeah, it's a 3-star and no higher than that.
All right. As long as you don't go that half, we can continue to do this podcast. Hey, I will give. They have a very good family moment towards the end of it. Mm-hmm. That exchange between Rebecca and her daughter. That was like, wow, we haven't seen one of these in a minute. Because what was it? Do you remember? What's her name?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Past that, our coach from Friday Night Lights was married.
Oh yeah. Shoot. Kyle Chandler.
Yeah, Kyle Chandler was married to Conjuring, and what they had going on in that like King of Monsters thing.
Yeah.
If you remember, what was it? Why am I blinking her name? She got a sister and everything. When she decided to unleash the monster, like that's how petty we were dealing with. Just a couple. Vera Farmiga, thank you, Devesh. Vera Farmiga's character was insane in that movie, and now we at least have more well-grounded people in here running things. Again, I'm going to second the Monarch show. Definitely go catch that. And then I guess if you're curious, this is also happening in that same universe somehow. Godzilla Kong, the new empire in theaters.